This is the Dallas Morning News.
Eat, Drink, DFW from the Dallas Morning News is made possible by Central Market.
Hi, and welcome to Eat, Drink, DFW, the podcast from the Dallas Morning News food team. Each week, we take a look at the food and drink trends happening in North Texas, learn some new recipes, and sometimes even get cooking tips from you, our listeners. I'm Anna Butler, the Dallas Morning News' food and events editor, and this week we're catching up on restaurant news, the new places we've been eating at lately, and answering some questions from our listeners and readers. It's all coming up right after this.
Central Market is really into food. Like when we say cheese, it's in 12 languages into food. Butchers, bakers, and sushi roll makers into food. We're talking so obsessive about quality you can shop blindfolded into food. Central Market is really into food. If you are too, then let us turn your shopping list into a treasure map. Get inspired, get adventurous, or just get a chef-made dinner when you've got more taste buds than time. No place makes every meal more amazing like Central Market. Really into food. Shop now at centralmarket.com.
Find the latest news from our food team by visiting dallasnews.com/food. And if you're behind on episodes, it's time to catch up. That means you need to follow Eat, Drink, DFW anywhere you listen to podcasts. We'd also love to hear from you. So if you need restaurant suggestions or even want to suggest a topic for this podcast or our written coverage, send it to eatdrink@dallasnews.com. I am joined by our food writers, Sarah Blaskovich and Imelda Garcia. Claire Baller is on parental leave. So I feel like we have a lot to catch up on. We had an awesome conversation about GLP-1s last week and their impact on appetites, but we also didn't get to talk a lot about other local food things.
Do you have other local food things to mention, Anna?
I do. This was a question entirely intended for me. I've been going out to eat so much lately. It's been great. We'll start with the new tasting menu at Georgie. My very favorite thing I ate was a plethora of little canapes that were inspired by R.J. Yoakum's life. So we're talking about tiny little bites, like a 2-bite piece inspired by fish and chips. The potato churro that they serve at Georgie, which apparently he deeply resents. Just these little fun things and fun moments. That was a real treat. I also went to Tatsu for my birthday.
Great. Dallas's only Michelin-starred restaurant.
The only one. And I would tell you, it felt like a masterclass in me understanding the difference between certain types of hamachi or yellowtail, for instance. It was incredible, just the amount of diversity that you could taste in these bites from these very similarly prepared fish.
How cool is it to go to a restaurant and learn something, not only about the food, but then a little bit about yourself? I find Tatsu to be, in addition to what you're saying, educational, also just so reverent toward the food. It feels like you're actually thinking so much about the food you're eating, not in an annoying way, just in a way that appreciates the craftsmanship. Now that you've experienced Tatsu and you've been to so many other Dallas restaurants, are you surprised that it has a Michelin star?
Not at all. I mean, the level of service and attention to detail was insane. I also had the best seat in the house. So I had Chef Tatsu standing directly in front of me. He was approximately 2.5 feet away from me. I peppered him with questions the entire time. And there comes a point at the end after the omakase experience is over, but before dessert, that they say, hey, do you want any more bites? And there's an option to say, let Chef Tatsu choose for me. And we did that. And it was clear to me that he'd heard me talk about how much I loved the orange zest that he'd added to a different fish. And so he did this really phenomenal squid preparation. I've never had such tender squid. It's usually so chewy, so rubbery, and this was one of the best bites I'd ever had. The intimacy of that experience, how small and tiny that is, that he could also remember that I'd really obsessed over this zest, and so he incorporated it into something else. It was worth every penny that I didn't pay for because it was my birthday present. One of my other favorite parts is they have a master sommelier, but for sake. I think a sake master is what it's called. And you can tell how much this woman loves her job. Like, she was just effusive and glowing and gushing over every single thing that she described. And I told her afterwards, I was like, that makes such a difference when someone loves what they're doing that much. I don't know. Have y'all ever ordered something at a restaurant and the person was so excited that you ordered it?
Yes. I mean, when you pick a dish that the server loves, especially if they've suggested it to you, at a good restaurant, the server has tried every single dish.
And I think you can tell when the waiter is like trying the food or not, because sometimes you ask for a recommendation and if they are doubtful or something, you are like, I don't know if you know your business, man.
All right, speaking of seafood, I went to a great seafood restaurant that was new to me. We had a couple days before Valentine's Day dinner at Catch, which is a chain seafood restaurant, but I use the word chain lightly. There are catches in other cities. For anybody who hasn't been, it's across the street from Nick and Sam's in Maple Terrace, which is a historic, beautiful old building that has been redone. And they installed this truly gorgeous seafood restaurant in front of it. We had incredible food. I really loved it. But I want to say the highlight was sitting near celebrities. Every couple has one person who's really good at spotting a celebrity and the other person on the other side of the table who is blissfully ignorant and terrible at it. And this is my husband and I. He knows every famous person who's everywhere. So I really like eating with him for 100 reasons, this one included. So we sit down and he says that Von Miller is right over there. Now, Von Miller played football at Texas A&M, where my husband went to college. And this is a whole thing for him, as we've established earlier on this podcast. So it was already going to be a big deal that Von Miller, a former Texas A&M football player, was there. However, Von Miller was also the Super Bowl MVP when the Broncos won the Super Bowl a couple years ago. And then he currently plays for the Buffalo Bills. So the guy over there in the corner is like super duper famous. And I love that nobody bothered him, and we did not bother him either. It did take a little bit of restraint. And then right to my right, and I'm talking 6 inches away from me, was Charlotte Jones, Jerry Jones's daughter. A whole other table with her family members were across the room. And then there were also some hockey players there. So we had this star-studded evening with really good raw fish and a killer Wagyu fried rice dish that came like in a hot bowl that was mixed right in front of us. And we had what I think is now the best dirty martini in Dallas.
Whoa.
Yep. And I don't want to brag, but I've drank a lot of them. So we just had a really nice evening. And if you're the type who loves to get dressed and potentially catch a celebrity, I suggest going to Catch.
I do want to try Catch. I tried one more restaurant in the past few weeks, which was Bar Sardine. The reason I'm thinking about it right now is I am not a dirty martini drinker, but my dinner companion is, and she loved theirs. I got the chocolate Negroni, which was fascinating.
Wait,
and
tell me more about that.
It is nothing like, you know what, Torelli's, the chocolate martini that's so delicious, where
Yes.
it's like creamy. It's not like that at all.
Okay. And it's not an espresso martini, which is the other martini everybody's drinking.
It's not. And so this is actually made with gin, which I usually don't drink gin because anytime I have a sip of it, it makes me cry. I did not cry.
Anna!
I had a 5:15 p.m. dinner at Bar Sardine.
We have to roll her out of there with tears. Oh, I'm proud of you.
Not this time. I might have outgrown my gin bucket phase, but it's actually kind of crazy. So when you drink it, the nose of it is chocolate. It hits your mouth, the tip of your tongue. It reminds you of an old fashioned. By the time you're swallowing it, on the back middle of your tongue essentially is chocolate. Our waitress, who was really, really great at recommending things, said that some people do save it for dessert, but a lot of people are okay having it as almost an aperitif. I had 2 of them, which was, a lot for me. But we started with escargot. It was fantastic. It was in a cognac butter. I love escargot. This is truly traditional French food. Where you're going to find the spins are the cocktails. The food itself is extremely, extremely traditional French, which I went to French cooking school. So it's fun for me to find someone who does this well, super technique driven. We had profiteroles with ice cream and chocolate sauce. I had the hamburger, which is based off of the original Bar Sardine hamburger, and it was fantastic.
What's the original Bar Sardine?
There's one in Paris, and there used to be one in New York.
So how do we get to name one that in Dallas if it's not the same restaurant?
I'm not an expert in trademark litigation, Sarah, but I would have to think that there was like a blessing involved in this, and that it's inspired, and that maybe there's like a market thing in the same way that you could, maybe move to Dallas and open a restaurant also called Carbone's.
Which didn't go so well for the guy who was already here and had his restaurant named Carbone.
Sad.
We should mention just real briefly that Bar Sardine is owned by the group that started Hudson House and so many other restaurants in DFW, Brentwood, Jack and Harry's, and others like it. So Bar Sardine is what? The little bitty martini bar French food version of some of these other restaurants?
Yes, it's tiny. It is a shoebox of a restaurant, but in the best possible way, in that you kind of feel like you're in Paris because you're kind of squunched up together. It was moody. It was dark. It was just so much fun. And I cannot wait to go back. There's so many other things I want to try.
I'm still thinking about the chocolate Negroni and escargot. What is that?
It probably is a little bit of a crazy pairing on paper, but the Negroni itself is not super sweet. It has the flavors of chocolate the way that a barbecue sauce or a mole does, but it's not like I'm eating dessert right now. Chocolate can do that pretty well. Maybe not when I walked into the restaurant did I think I was going to eat really buttery escargot and like dip bread into butter while having a chocolate beverage. But it did actually work to me.
I love that you have an adventurous palate.
That is so polite. Imelda, have you been anywhere new?
Actually, I don't. But you know what? My mom is in town. She's retired now in Mexico. And she tried this recipe for tortas ahogadas. I don't know if you know what that is.
No, what is it?
Literally, it's a bolillo. It's a bread filled with meat and bathed in a very, very, very hot salsa. And I was almost crying because it was really, really hot.
But was it also really good? Was that why you were
It was
almost
good,
crying?
but you know what? My mouth felt like this, like when you have the lips are like that. It was amazing, yeah.
Imelda was making it look like she had very intense fillers on her
Yes.
lips, which I will say that happens when I have spicy food too, is people are like, did you get work done? And I'm like, no.
Yeah, like that. I always eat spicy dishes, you know? So imagine that kind of spicy. It was
That's really
crazy.
spicy.
Yeah, I'm going to bring some.
What I really want you to do, Imelda, is bring your mom.
That's a good
I
idea.
want to know her. She
Yeah.
seems spicy and
Yeah.
she seems like she makes great food.
Yeah, she does.
What's your mom's name?
Imelda also. I'm named after her.
Does your mom still carry a serrano pepper in her purse for things that aren't spicy enough?
Always. Yeah,
Your mom is the Beyonce of
Yes.
Mexican food in Dallas.
true. Yeah, because Anna, maybe you don't know that, but when my mom eats out and the food is not as spicy, she always opens her purse and squeezes a bag full of chile serranos. So she buy the
She
chile.
literally has
Yes.
hot stuff in her bag.
This is 100% the first time I'm hearing it, but I would
really?
say kindred spirit for me who carries a small tin, like, you know, the mini Altoids tin where it slides on the top?
Yes.
I do that, but with Maldon salt.
Oh,
Where I'm like, this needs flaky salt. Things
Oh,
need
that's
flaky
interesting.
salt all the time.
Oh, but like you don't want to be a jerk about it.
Yeah, I mean, the right restaurant, I'm not whipping out my salt. I did not have to do that at any of the three places I mentioned, not at Georgie, Tatsu, or Bar Sardine.
Can you imagine if you were at Tatsu after he'd so intricately prepared at this Michelin-starred restaurant and you just slid that Altoid top open and did a big hefty salt spill?
I think that would be grounds for dismissal.
yes.
And I think that would be fair. I bet some of our listeners carry pretty hilarious things in their purse. And apparently I need some inspiration because I don't carry chilies or Maldon salt in my purse. So if you are one of those people, email us at eatdrink@dallasnews.com and tell us what funny, interesting, or strange thing you keep in your purse.
You can find stories on what we've been working on lately by visiting dallasnews.com/food. We're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to answer some questions from listeners and readers. That's next.
Central Market is really into food, like fish flown in so fresh it still has jet lag into food. Our sourdough starter has been around since grunge was a thing into food. We're talking more prime cuts than a greatest hits album into food. Central Market is really into food. If you are too, then we're the HQ for you, whether you're a make every recipe in the cookbook foodie or a my favorite recipe is reheat type who just digs the delectable. No place makes every day more delicious like Central Market. Really into food. Shop now at centralmarket.com.
Welcome back. Before we get to reader questions, a quick reminder that giving our podcast a good review on Apple Podcasts helps other people find it. So if you like it, please say so. It would mean the world to us. Okay, so Sarah, you did have to report on some news this week that I feel like is just another stab to the gut for Dallas food.
That's right. Our retail reporter announced that the original Neiman Marcus in downtown Dallas is closing at the end of March. And that, pause for reflection. That's major. That is Dallas's store. And it brought so many people to Dallas specifically just to shop there. It was one of the fanciest places to shop of its time. Now, on the 6th floor, as many know, is the Zodiac, the quintessential ladies who lunch place in Dallas, full stop. It opened in 1953. It shall close too, March 31st, 2025, when the boutique closes.
I am personally devastated. On my first episode on this podcast, I talked about how much I love Helen Corbett and what she did for food in Dallas. And she is the reason that when you sit down at any Neiman's restaurant, you're having the consomme and the popover with strawberry butter. It was part of Stanley Marcus's vision for that department store to have a fabulous restaurant. I remember driving up from Austin when we come shopping in Dallas as a kid, and we'd eat there. And I know what my grandfather ordered, and I know what my mom would split with her mom. This just feels like a loss.
It does. And the other Neiman Marcuses, which I think are expected to remain open, no longer have a Zodiac. They used to, and they changed all the names in 2019. So the only two Zodiacs left were in New York City and in Dallas, and the one in New York City closed in, I believe it was 2020. It is the end of an era, and I did a little research on the Zodiac to kind of pay it tribute. And one of my favorite fun facts is that Grace Kelly has eaten there. It sort of feels like a restaurant of your dreams kind of place because it's just so fancy and so fiercely feminine. And it will really be missed. If you want to go, you can go between now and March 31st. It's a great time to make a reservation.
Wait, Julie's dying to say something.
Y'all, I am devastated because this was a little family thing that we did every year. We would do the holiday buffet. And it was such a big thing for my kids. And the past 2 years, I've insisted on going to other places because I'm like, you're older. We need to try some more of these more traditional, we did Albernay, we did Mat Hai Ba this year, and they're going to kill me. Yeah. They're going to be we're going to have to go over spring break. I wish they would do another holiday buffet. Sorry, that's just for me, ultimately. This is killing me, though.
Well, if you do want to stop in and you work in downtown, they extend a discount to people who lunch there that work downtown. I believe it is 20% off, which almost makes it affordable.
This is news to me.
I wonder if they would let us record a podcast there before it closes.
Ooh, that would be great.
I would love to do that. And I do think that would help honor. It's one of many ways that we're trying to remember a place, before it's gone.
I'll try not to cry, but I will get working on that.
Okay, so now we want to answer a couple of questions from our readers. And just for fun, I sent around on X a question. Hey, North Texas foodies, what do you want to know? What's a question that's on the tip of your tongue that we can answer for you? Ask us anything. And we got so many fun responses. So I've picked a couple of my favorites, and you guys know I love to play like a round robin game. So Anna, why don't you go first?
I still can't get over that you called it X because I will never not be able to call it Twitter.
It's tough. I sort of choke on it every time. And then I think about Elon Musk's favorite child, X, because he has like 1 million of them, but he keeps taking that one to the White House. And that child's name is X. That's how I get there.
Okay, here's my question. At which restaurants do you never skip dessert? So I don't love super sweet things, but I will never, ever skip dessert at Rise Soufflés, of course. Rise #1 here in Dallas at Inwood and Lovers in Inwood Village. I love the pistachio one there and the pecan praline, which is sweeter. Bar Sardine, already brought it up, but man, profiteroles, those are hard to find in Dallas. These were stuffed with ice cream, chocolate drizzle over the top, homemade chocolate ice cream. And the chef was going around doing these like heaping scoops of chocolate mousse on people's plate. And he does it for you. Very normal in France, not normal here to have like a big pot of something that someone's like lunch ladying onto your plate.
Wow.
Wait, I want that so much. I love chocolate mousse.
One of my favorite things in all of the land, though, is a cookie. I love good cookies. Very rarely does a restaurant have a cookie as a dessert, but Loro does. Theirs is chocolate chip with salted toffee and almonds in it, and that is a great cookie.
Ooh.
Are there any places y'all won't skip dessert?
Not to keep jumping on Mat Hai Ba, but that chocolate cake there is insane.
You can get that same chocolate cake at Pillar, the Mat Hai Ba sibling restaurant in Oak Cliff. Good one, Julie. Okay, another question from our readers. Direct quote. What does Joe Tease do with all that cash?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, Joe T. Garcia's has that tiny little menu and a bazillion people who want to eat there all the time. Of course, we're talking about the more than 90-year-old restaurant in Fort Worth. And I'm going to politely say that was a funny question that we're not going to answer because I don't know. Okay, Imelda, we have a really great question that I think you can answer.
Yes. What's the story behind Mia's? We always drive by, and last week we decided to eat there. Great food and family atmosphere. Yeah. The story of Mia's began in 1981, so it's an old place by now. And they opened it in Lemon Avenue, and since then, they have been serving all these Tex-Mex classics, so to speak. this is a mom and pop establishment, funded by Tiburcio Butch Enriquez and Anita Mamma Mia Enriquez. And that's where the name come from Mamma Mia, Mia's restaurant.
I would like Mamma Mia to be my podcast nickname.
And this place is so popular that even George W. Bush have eaten there. And it was a favorite of Tom Landry. So this is a very popular spot. And one of the classics is chile rellenos. I don't know if you have ever tried chile rellenos.
Yes.
Oh, I love chili rellenos.
Yes, they are good. Huh?
I also like Mia's brisket tacos. I feel like they were part of the popularity of that dish in DFW. I'm not going to say they're the first or last, but they make a darn good one.
I always order Ernesto's special, which is a grilled chicken breast with sour cream sauce on it. It's something that I think of to me as Dallas Tex-Mex that we do not have in Austin. But one of the fun Mia facts is before it moved to the former Buzz Brews location, it's always been on Lemon. That is where Jerry Jones extended Jimmy Johnson the offer to be the head coach when he was acquiring the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh.
And I learned about this just reading in our archives because apparently we sent a photography intern to the restaurant. He could just walk inside. This is not something that you can do nowadays, just walk inside a restaurant and take a news photo. And he walked over and was like, hey, I'm going to snap some photos of you. And his photo editor had been like, get the shot. I just think that's funny.
That's a good chisme, huh?
Yeah, great chisme.
Yeah, and something I love about Dallas is it does feel like a big, small town to me. It feels like a lot of people know other people. We certainly know each other's business. And so like stories like that one is just an example of, like how we caught an important moment in real time. And that was a Dallas Morning News intern who took that picture. All right, last question. And I'll take this one. Albert asks, can you compare old barbecue joints like Angelo's to the new ones popping up like Bricks and Hurtado's? And he's mostly asking about Tarrant County barbecue, but I want to answer this from a North Texas point of view because we've got a lot of listeners everywhere. How I compare the old barbecue joints and the new barbecue joints is to consider them differently. We have old school and new school barbecue, and to put them on the same playing field, in my opinion, as a big time barbecue eater, it isn't fair. New school barbecue is maybe as much science as art. There are quite a few people who have mastered the art of making perfectly peppered and fatty brisket. And I will mention a few in a minute here. But old school barbecue joints, while they might make great brisket and great other meats, it is less important, I think, exactly how they do their craft. It's more like, hey, let's go get a great price on a barbecue sandwich. Let's put some sauce on it. Let's get some great sides. Maybe somebody makes an excellent potato salad, coleslaw, banana pudding. Call it a day. These new school places, Cadillac Barbecue, Zavala's, Goldie's, Panther City, those are 4 examples, in my opinion, of some of the best barbecue we have in DFW. We recently talked about Vaqueros, which opened in Allen. That's another one that's going to be part of the conversation. I just don't think you look at a 90-year-old barbecue place and a 2-year-old barbecue place in the same way at all. And that's okay. They serve 2 purposes.
I think that's a much kinder way to look at it than I do because it actually irritates me at times because I grew up in Central Texas, also, a barbecue mecca. And what makes me angry are people going and trying something like the Salt Lick and being like, their barbecue's not good because it's not the same as Aaron Franklin's spot. And it's like, well, I mean, he's devoted his craft to making this perfect brisket. And the Salt Lick, it is so different. I think that that's a better way to look at it, the apples and oranges, because I actually still want to go to Sammy's or Cooper's. And I think that people are like, oh, that's funny. That's not the best barbecue in Dallas. And I was like, there's something about the atmosphere. There's something about going through like a Luby's line and grabbing a cafeteria tray. There's a lot of food memories in something like this for me. I call it high barbecue a lot. And it's not that I don't like that, but I also really don't like the dismissal of these mom and pop shops that have been doing the same thing with an exhaustively long menu for a long time.
It's a great point, Anna. And Salt Lick is the perfect example because anybody who's listening who's been to the Salt Lick and Driftwood, what a fun evening that is. You wait forever to go down the line. And so you stand out in the yard. There's usually somebody playing live music. You're going for the atmosphere, and the atmosphere is great. We've talked quite a bit about barbecue as it was covered by Michelin. And there were 4 of the 15 one-star restaurants. 4 of those were barbecue restaurants, which is mind-blowing for a lot of reasons. None of those 4 were these old school barbecue joints.
And I think barbecue is evolving also with North Texas because we have seen a lot of people coming from all over the place. And now we have seen like this fusion style barbecue, for example, Smoke and Ash that has Ethiopian, right? hurtados with Mexican and barbecue. So it's very interesting how this kind of food, it's also changing.
I thought that was a lot of fun going through these reader questions. If you have others, we always want to answer them. Go to eatdrink@dallasnews.com and tell us what's on your mind. Hopefully we can get you answers quickly.
And don't forget to tell us, what do you have in your purses? I want to know, what kind of food do you have in there?
And to make this more inclusive, men, what are you keeping in your pockets?
Oh my gosh. If a guy has a sandwich or a hot dog in his back pocket, I'm so ready.
And that's all the time we have for this week. Be sure to join us next week, where we'll be catching up on even more restaurant news and also talking to a local foodie who is trying every single Michelin restaurant in the state of Texas. Stay up to date with the food team's stories at dallasnews.com/food and listen to all of our episodes by following Eat Drink DFW wherever you find podcasts. Special thanks to our producer, Julie Fisk. For the news, I'm Anna Butler. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Eat, Drink, DFW from the Dallas Morning News is made possible by Central Market.